Deontay Wilder, as a man, couldn't carry AJ's jockstrap. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. These aeroplanes, they're great machines, but they won't drive themselves without a pilot or a captain, will they? You know, they cost millions to build, but they're not going to drive themselves no matter how good they are. And it's the same thing with a boxer. He's got to have navigation and proper advice. And if you can't navigate your man through a fight when he's in trouble, get out the corner. Tear up your boxer's licence, because all you're good for is carrying the spit bucket.
Ahead of Fury Wilder 3 on October the 9th, live on BT Sport Box Office, it gives me immense pleasure to be joined by the big man, John Fury. John, how are you doing?
It's a pleasure, and thank you for talking to me.
Brilliant to have you with us. How confident are you, John, that Tyson gets the second victory over Wilder in their trilogy fight?
Absolutely, extremely confident, because he's done everything asked of him. You know, he's had a sensible camp where he's not had all the hangers on around him. He's had the people who's added to his job there with him, and he's left no stone unturned. The sparring has been brilliant, explosive. Big up to those boys who's helped him out, every one of them. You know who you are, you know, and what I've seen of it, it's been a great camp, probably one of the best he's had. One of the most sensiblest, I think, anyway.
Earlier this week, Tyson told Top Rank that Deontay Wilder is the most dangerous threat in the heavyweight division, better than AJ, better than Usyk, better than Dillian Whyte. Do you agree with Tyson on that? And if so, why is Wilder better than the rest?
He's not technically better, but it's that power thing, you see. He's got this freakish horse-kicking power, hasn't he? You know, if you shot right hand, you might as well be kicked with a 15-hand pony in the brains. The effect would be probably less from the pony, but that's the only thing that makes him dangerous. It's a big punch, and he's like a wounded tiger. He can hurt you when he's gone himself. You know, it's never over with Wilder till it's over. But has he got the beating of Tyson? Definitely not. He's got nothing else to beat Tyson within the world, apart from a big punch. If he never had a big punch, it'd be a total mismatch.
How is Tyson? Have you checked in with him recently?
I speak to him on FaceTime every day. You know, and like I said, I've been liking what I've been seeing. He's had great sparring from great people, you know, and he's doing very, very well. He's probably sparred more rounds for this fight than any of his other fights in his career, you know, but practice makes perfect. He knows he's been out the ring a long time. He needs the ring time. He needs the sparring. I've never seen him as confident. And he says to me, there's no problem, none. I've got this covered. I said, but before you do anything, concentrate on the man in front of you. Forget about Usyk's, AJ's, the rest of the world. Concentrate on Deontay Wilder. Get him sorted first, and then move to the next move. But until then, can't wait for next Saturday night. I know it's going to be explosive. It's going to be exciting, and Tyson is going to prove why he's the dominant heavyweight #1 in the world Saturday night. It's going to be great.
Wilder's been trash talking quite a lot recently.
I don't care what he does. That's about all he can do, is trash talk, isn't he? You know, because his behaviour, because he got beat up last time, was terrible. And I think he's just undermined his own character, his own achievements by being like a big baby. You know, and I know full well he can't beat a man like my son because of his character. You know, what's in you will come out of you. And in deep water, that character will emerge again. It always does.
Do you think that's perhaps why he's been trash talking more to the media? You know, every single day there's a new Deontay Wilder shot at Fury with different media outlet. Do you think he's trying to cover for something?
No, I think he's kidding himself. I think he's trying to gain confidence from his own mouth, which is impossible. And if Malik Scott was round me, I'd think I could win a world title, because he can blow that much smoke up somebody's ringer. It's incredible. You know, I got to admire Malik Scott. He's a lot better man at boosting his man than he was at being a boxer. You know, but it takes all kinds to win titles, and you've got to have the right 100% in every department. I just see Wilder's only got a punch. That's all he has. You know, and let's just see what he does. You know, if you're going to try and teach him to box, he's not had long enough. You can't learn that in 6 months and whatever. He'll try and make adjustments, he's got to. But if he can't make those adjustments, he's in trouble. He's in trouble anyway. But let's just see what they've got. You know, and I've heard all this. I've heard people say, and they all talk a good fight, don't they? Until it comes to getting in. When that man is there, up close and personal with you, and you know the beating you took before, you don't get over that too quickly. And I'm afraid that'll be a decisive thing in his mind, what will contribute to his loss to the Gypsy King, my son, #1 in the world.
You mentioned AJ Usyk and some other heavyweight fighters there. What did you make of the fight last weekend?
You know, it was what it was. You know, it was a lacklustre performance. I think AJ knows this, but you know, I'm going to give AJ a break because I don't think it was entirely his fault. I've said it time and time again. I'm not pointing the finger at any individual, but there was just too many people in his corner. You know, not one of them made a wise suggestion in the old 12 rounds. It was all coming apart at the seams, and his corner couldn't help him when he was in deep water. You know, it's like you're drowned and you can see 10 men on the bank with ropes and not one can throw it to you to save you. And that was the position AJ was in. You know, he was looking at them for advice. What now? What now? And he was drawing a blank every time. So what do? These aeroplanes, they're great machines, but they won't drive themselves without a pilot or a captain, will they? You know, they cost millions to build, but they're not going to drive themselves no matter how good they are. It's the same thing with a boxer. He's got to have navigation and proper advice. And if you can't navigate your man through a fight when he's in trouble, get out the corner. Tear up your boxer's license, because all you're good for is carrying the spit bucket. No more, no less. And let the real men do the job in hand.
I did think it was a bit odd. The first few rounds of the fight,
Yep.
AJ's getting the pasting from Usyk, and all you hear from Rob McCracken is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. It's like,
What was he looking at? He was losing.
couldn't have helped him, could it?
Brilliant if you want to stay in the fight without getting knocked out. And I think that was a plan early on, because I think AJ tasted Usyk's power and thought, you know what, dangerous, I might get KO'd here. And he settled for second best. AJ was happy to hear the final bell, even though I still think Usyk was denied a TKO. They was waving the white down the corner seconds before the bell went. Should have been over. But we're in Britain. Usyk's away from home. That's boxing. But the plus points is it was a great fight. He took a lot of stick, Usyk. Usyk was brilliant in every department. He's a very, very excellent elite fighter. You know, and he'll take some beating. There's only my son can beat him at the minute, I think. But AJ will come again. Was it a great fight? Enjoyed every minute of it. Was it a great promotion? Of course it was. It was a spectacle. It was fabulous. I got my glass of wine, my cheese sandwich, and I enjoyed every minute of it. You know, and AJ, he's given me some great nights, you know. And he's done a lot for boxing, hasn't he? He's put British boxing on the map. Let's not forget that. And let's not kick a man too much when he's down. Because AJ, he's got a funny way of keep coming back, hasn't he? He's like a boomerang. You can fire it out, then it'll come back. And I feel he'll come back again. With the right team, the right adjustments, he can make a lot better job of it next time.
I'd be interested in your advice for Joshua. Having seen your son Tyson obviously go to the very bottom and now come back to the top of the heavyweight division, #1 heavyweight boxer on the planet. Having seen him come back from where he was a few years ago after the Klitschko victory, what would your advice for Joshua be in getting back on top?
Simple. Make adjustments in the ring and outside of them. And you'll get back to the top. You can dress it up and talk a million words over this. There's two things he needs to do. Adjust in the ring and out the ring. Enough said. And he knows what I mean. You know, I'm not going to discuss and tell him how to beat other fighters. You know what? He's not on my network. You know, I like the lad, but I'm not going to impose and insult his own team, even though I have done in so many words, but it's only fact, what I've said. It's not fiction. The world could see the fight. We've all got eyes and ears. You know, people who understand boxing know what went wrong. But like I say, if he makes the right adjustments in and out the ring, I see him coming back. He's only young, he's only 32, isn't he? You know, he's a big, strong lad. You don't have gold medals give to you. You don't have world titles give to you. You've got to win them and earn them. And he's done that. He's earned his stripes as a fighter. We all can have a bad night, can't you? But it's what you do in defeat. He's not going to be a Deontay Wilder, spit his dummy and go crying. And he's not done that. That's why I admire AJ as a man. You know, he's took his loss like a man. And that's why he'll come back from his loss, because he realises where he's gone wrong, and he thought, you know what, I need to address this properly. So what I'm going to do is sit down, give myself some breathing space, let the dust settle, and look at the clearer, bigger picture in the cold light of day and see where we're up to. He's an intelligent guy, AJ. He's a businessman. I like him, and I do feel he can come back because he's got the right attitude in defeat. Congratulations, mate. You're a man and a half. God bless you, AJ.
He was refreshingly honest, I think, in that post-fight press conference.
Absolutely, without a doubt. You couldn't fault the kid, could you?
If you look at the parallels between the way he handled that loss to Usyk and the way Wilder blamed the weight of his suit for the last loss to Tyson.
Deontay Wilder, as a man, couldn't carry AJ's jockstrap. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. AJ's a man and he's not. Winning a fight and losing a fight, you've got to be a good man to get in there and participate. You know, he's had the world titles, AJ. You know, and let's not undermine Usyk. Usyk's brilliant. He's lost to a brilliant fighter. He's not lost to a Joe Bloggs who's been in the right place at the wrong time and he's had a bad night. He's lost to a brilliant fighter in Oleksandr Usyk. He is a brilliant fighter in every avenue. Great stuff.
How do you think Tyson would get on against Usyk?
To be continued, I say, for another conversation, that one.
Yeah,
My son is a country mile in front of every heavyweight out there today. Don't need to say any more. I'm not saying it because he's my son and I love him and all that, but the proof in the pudding's eating it. And Tyson's proved it time and time again where he's at in the heavyweight division. You know, let's just see. Time will only tell. But yes, will it be a great fight? Will it be a great spectacle? Of course it will. You know, will he fight AJ? I hope so, somewhere along the line. But let's not write Anthony Joshua off. He's got the mindset in defeat to redeem himself, and he will. And I said it first.
I'm not sure if you agree with this, but I was looking at Usyk in that pre-fight press conference with Anthony Joshua, his eccentricity, the flash suits he was wearing, the fact he shaved all his hair off, and it was like, has he borrowed that from Tyson, do you think? Not
really. Oleksandr Usyk's his own man. You know, and I like him. Very, very crafty, very intelligent, also a brilliant team. He's got as good a team as he is a fighter, you know, and the combination's perfect, and I think they'll go a long way in boxing. And if it wasn't for my son, Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, #1, best in the land, he'd be champion for a long time, Usyk, because of his mindset, his skill. But he's just not big enough to mess with the Gypsy King. 6'9", 20 stone, wrecking machine, but don't know when he's hurt, and will come back from the dead and win. And that's what champions do. But Usyk, again, brilliant fighter, brilliant technician, 100% believes in himself, and a true warrior's heart. He's a throwback to an old-time gladiator. They'll fight to the death, them men. And he proved it. Look at the stick he took off AJ. He was cut to pieces, he was walled up, but there's no back foot. He was coming to win, Usyk, and you've got to admire that in a man. And such a small man. He's not such a small man, but he is compared to today's heavyweights. You know, so yeah, credit all the way for Usyk. Will AJ come again? Of course he will, with the right brains in his corner.
How realistic a prospect is it now, do you think, the AJ Fury fight? Is it a case of maybe waiting another year for Tyson to take on Usyk? There's a few, Dillian Whyte probably wants to be involved in the equation as well. How realistic a prospect do you think that is now?
Well, you know, like I said in the previous interview, if you fall off an horse, get straight back on it. But in AJ's case, he's got plenty of time, hasn't he? You know, it's going to take time to rebuild AJ. It's not going to be done in 5 minutes. You need to look at it properly and analyse everything. Look at that fight hour in, hour out, and see where they've gone wrong. And that's the only time you're going to realise where it's at, when you analyse it properly. And it can take weeks, it can take months until you spot the problem, which it won't take much spotting from a man who knows what he's doing. But like I say, Dillian Whyte deserves a fight. Tyson, if he gets through next Saturday night, will probably fight Dillian Whyte next. I don't know, I'm not his manager, but that's the route I'd go. Dillian deserves his crack. You know, he's been waiting around so long. He had a bad knockout loss to Alexander Povetkin, but he come back and redeemed himself. So yeah, I will come back if I was Tyson, fight Dillian Whyte in December, and then I'd look where the AJ and the Usyk rematch is. And if it's not apparent, go the Usyk route. Go after all the belts. Even if we've got to go to the Ukraine, we don't care. Ukraine, here we come. Hey, and I can go there. I'm going to be ringside, and that'll be a party on its own. I'd love to meet Oleksandr Usyk. I like the guy. You know, I really do. He's a great technician, lovely fella, believes in himself. He's a warrior, and I can only admire men like that.
Great personality, as are you, John, and thanks very much. Thanks very much for putting the time away.
Great minds think alike. Thank you, sir.
Thanks very much for speaking to us today.
Absolutely. Thank you as well.